Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. Welcome to today's upload. Before we jump on into it, a couple quick links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman, Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. These audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click that like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click the bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment and share the video. Why? Well, these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. They definitely do matter, and they are appreciated. And with that, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to today's upload, shall we? All right, so today's upload is going to be an absolute... I like uploads like this. These are my favorites because, one, there's going to be a video of me when I went up to where Tom Messick disappeared last night. I said it in the live stream Saturday that I was thinking about and may go up to where Tom Messick disappeared. And if many of you are new and don't know who that is, that's a missing 411 case that occurred in my neck of the woods, like my backyard practically. I had family members that were involved in law enforcement. I interviewed them. I interviewed many other people. Actually, one of them was in the David Paulides movie, The Hunted. And just a lot of strange things occurred in that case. A lot. So I did go up there from 7 p.m. till 8 p.m. I didn't want to spend too much time up there. One, because it was more or less spur of the moment. I didn't plan it. I just said it in the live stream because I was thinking about it. And I've been feeling kind of crazy with depression lately. And I needed to get something going. I needed to kind of restart the machine, you know? And I did. So I'll share that with you guys, and I'll talk about the experience that I have up there. Also, I'm going to get into, about a week ago, I shared with you a dog attack that occurred in Knox County, Kentucky. It happened 10 days ago. I shared it with you guys a week ago. Now, quickly, before we get into any more of that attack, is I want to say something, and I'm not calling out anyone, because the few people that did make mention of, know I did comment to them, and they know that I didn't mean anything negative. I cannot blatantly come out and say this woman was attacked by a dog man without a shadow of a doubt. You guys can. You guys can have that opinion. I may have that opinion, but I cannot openly say, hey, you know, I can say how I feel about the case. I can say what I think is wrong with the case and what may lead me to believe that it may be a dogman attack or any other cryptid attack. But I can't just say, why do you ask that? Well, because the woman has family. And I do not want to step on anyone's toes, meaning feelings, especially in the time of loss. So all I will do is point out the very strange circumstances around the case. Also, we'll get into everything after too. So it's going to be an awesome upload. Let's jump into it. August 29th, the attack on a woman in Knox County, Kentucky occurred. A woman named Priscilla Jones, 44 years old. Now, prior to that, there was an attack in May where another woman had been attacked in the almost same location. Now, when I shared that information, I immediately realized something. I was like, whoa. And it popped out immediately. You have an attack back in May where another woman was attacked and tragically lost her life. Couple months later, there's another attack in the same location. Another person tragically loses their life. A couple years back, there was a case in Knox County, Tennessee, and Tony Aarons and Amber Miller were attacked months apart in the same location. Both tragically lost their lives. That really does point to something. So my whole thing is, if indeed there was a pack of roaming dog, and wild dogs are an African species, all right, feral dog, not wild dog, a feral dog, because a wild dog truly is a species of canine in Africa. So if there were these roaming feral packs of dog, wouldn't there be more attacks on this Sandy Branch Road in Kentucky? Yeah. Shit, yeah. One, the road is isolated. Two, there's woods on it. It's not very large. It's a good size, but it's not large. And it's completely isolated with woods all around. So you can't tell me there's only been 2 people walking on that road a couple months apart. To me, sounds off. And then the wording. Deputies investigate woman's death as dog attack. Husband questions the circumstances. And good for him. Because you know what? People need to. Especially when there's something strange going on. Barberville, Kentucky. There are a lot of questions about a dog attack in southern Kentucky. A woman died after police say several dogs attacked her. It happened on Friday afternoon in Sandy Branch Road in the flat-lit community of Knox County. Deputies in Knox County say there are still many unknowns in this tragic case. 911 got a call from a neighbor saying that a woman was being attacked by dogs. When police had arrived, the dogs had left, and the woman was suffering from numerous bites. She later died at the hospital. She was 44-year-old Priscilla Jones. She would help anybody. She would do anything for anybody, said Johnny Smith. Johnny Smith says he was married to Priscilla for 25 years, and Wednesday would have been her 45th birthday. A neighbor had heard signs of distress and saw a woman being attacked by dogs. He was able to run them off. Police and animal control are trying to find those dogs and their owner. Doing neighborhood canvass, talking to people, and checking cameras in the area as thorough an investigation as possible to ascertain whose dogs they are and what kind of dogs they are, said Sheriff Mike Smith. Johnny Smith questions if there's more to his wife's death than a dog attack. They are telling me that dogs attacked her. What I saw, I don't think dogs did attack her. Dogs may have had a part on her arms and legs, but the rest, I think, was done by a 2-legged dog, said Smith. Coroner's office is doing an autopsy on the woman who passed. Sheriff Smith said she lived alone in a remote area of Knox County. Coroner says this is the second dog attack since May in the same area. Kentucky State Police are investigating the attack. Police say owner of the dogs could face various charges. Sheriff Smith also says to Johnny Smith's allegations that something else happened to his wife, that the case is simply a death investigation, and we are looking at all aspects. Well, one, it's and I have an appreciation for law enforcement. I do. I really do. My uncle was sergeant for South Glens Falls Police Department for a long time. One of the greatest police officers anyone could have met. I've heard stories beyond stories. But you've got those ones that just, it's almost like their job is too hard for their narrow minds. You know, almost like Chief Fuentes in the attack Amber Miller, Tony Aarons. Now, he was a real toolbox. I'm not sure about this guy. But here's the thing. It's a death investigation. Okay, buddy. Well, if dogs did kill her, then it's not a death investigation. It's an animal attack investigation, not a death, buddy. And I'm not even, like, I didn't even, and you guys can see that. Like, there's the things that I look for. Now, what her husband Johnny said, anybody catches that, right? Now, here's something. There was a post on Facebook, and it has since been deleted from Priscilla's sister-in-law, talking about how she kept referring to a male figure, not Johnny, but another person. Hard R was mentioned, but then it was deleted, So, I don't know, or I didn't know. Now we're 10 days in, and I'm still looking, and I've been looking, and there's a lot of things that just in this travesty of journalistic garbage here. The wording is just a lot of questions. The still many unknowns to this tragic case. They don't share any of the details. Also, what they don't do, what this Sheriff Mike Smith, he's got that authority. It's got that authority to him. Death investigation. Oh, it's an animal attack investigation, if that's what it was, Bella. But, it just, he's like, Johnny, the husband, is saying, hey, let's look more into this. Because he walked up onto the body. So he saw the gruesomeness of the attack. This attack does not sound gruesome. Amber Miller, Tony Aarons, that journalistic quality of those cases, you literally reading those from Tony Aarons and Amber Miller, reading what they wrote, what happened, you could paint that picture of what the people looked like, how bad it was, what the road looked like, what this and that and everyone else looked like. It was painted perfectly. This is just like word salad. It's like someone picked up a freaking Crayola and just started coloring outside of the lines. Whoever wrote this needs to go back to journalistic school. Anyway. All right, so once again, there is not 10 days in. We're 10 days in now with Zill. 44-year-old woman died Friday after being attacked by a pack of dogs while walking in Flatlit community, according to Knox County Sheriff's Office. Priscilla Jones was walking around 2:30 p.m. on Sandy Branch Road when deputies say she was suddenly attacked by several. Wild dog. There's that wild dog. Feral dog. And I know some people are going to be like, well, they're wild. They live out. Well, they're not a wild dog because there is a wild dog. There is a species of wild dog in Africa. And if you're going to be a journalist and if you're going to write the news, write it right. Say feral dog. We're not in Africa. And once again, I guarantee neighbor that lived approximately 150 yards from this lady had contacted dispatch and said that she had been attacked by several dogs. Didn't give us the exact number, but said several dogs close to her resident right there, Sheriff Mike Smith says. By the time first responders arrived, Jones had suffered life-threatening injuries and was unable to speak. She was rushed to the hospital, but died later from her injuries. Jones' husband, Johnny Smith, still in shock, said he and his 2 children saw Priscilla lying in the grassy field after noticing emergency vehicles in the area. I seen the ambulance and the police going up in there, and then I got worried. I went up there being nosy, I guess. I went up through there, and there she is, Johnny Smith said. However, Johnny Smith does not believe a pack of dogs could cause so much damage as what he witnessed. So, we're only told by the news, arm, leg. Interestingly enough, and I'm not saying interesting, Amber Miller, Tony Aarons were both savagely attacked in their arms and legs. Like ripped apart. So, if she was unable to speak, it must have been a very gruesome attack. I believe the first blow to the back of the neck was a lethal that made her go down, and then the dogs. Knox County Sheriff's Office is working to determine where the dogs came from and their current location. We've been in contact with Animal Control and they responded to the scene as well. And they have been in that area all weekend trying to locate these dogs, Smith said. Residents in the area are asked to stay alert and report any dog sightings to the police. So, once again, you have residents in that area all the time. Why aren't there more attacks between the May attack and this attack? There would be if there was a pack of feral dog out in that area. It would be, there would be a shit ton of feral dog out, or, feral sightings out there. It would just be terrible, I had a subscriber send me an email, and I want to share this with you guys real quick. So this gentleman, I'm not going to share his name, but he owns property and a camper on Sandy Branch. He has like 20 acres. He didn't mention wild dog. There you go. There you got me going. You got me saying it. He didn't mention feral dog. The blow to the back of the neck. So could it might have been a person. Here's the thing, it may have been. That's why I'm not saying, hey, it's a dog man. Hey, it's a Bigfoot. Hey, it's this. Hey, it's that. I'm saying what isn't. What it isn't. And it isn't a pack of feral dog. Because honestly, if law enforcement was in that area for as long as they are saying they were looking for these dogs, why haven't you found them? You're telling me you couldn't find them? Unless they're really doing their job and they're not just going to pawn off some poor family's couple of freaking mutts that are tied up in the backyard or penned up in the backyard. Hey, we got our causes right here. Look, we'll close the case. Case closed. That's happened before. That's happened in Georgia. you've got a case in May and a case now, and a lot of weird stuff. People Magazine picked up the case. People Magazine. That's an interesting one. When People Magazine picks it up, makes me ask questions, you know. So my whole thing is, yeah, there's something definitely going on. There's definitely something going on, and they don't want us to know about it. There was a bickering match on when I believe what appeared to be his sister was talking about the case. And you know, it's a horrible death. It's a horrible death. A few people are like, I live right in that area. I've known her for a long time. And this was not done by dog. So, I don't know. Anyway, let's get into some more. I'm just trying to look and see if I can find any more information. It's just sad that there is not more news given. And only one line: be careful. If you see the dogs, tell us. Do our job for us, okay? Maybe catch them. It just, you know, it's a freaking person's life. Don't. And I really hate the media. Because the media and the government work hand in hand together, and we all know it. And they will paint the narrative the government wants. And they will be the weapon that the government wants. So, anyway, my prayers go out to this woman's family. And I'll keep you guys in the loop. All right, so here is my trip up to where Tom Messick disappeared. Check this out.
All right, guys. I said it in the live stream. We will go up where Tom Messick disappeared at night. It is 7 o'clock. Well, 5 of 7 on a cool fall day in the Adirondacks. It's like 63 degrees. Beautiful though, beautiful. Got to pull out the old vests. So this is the trail, Lily Pond Trail. And instead of going up the side of the mountain where I normally go, I decided to hit this side. This is where Messick did disappear. This is where they were hunting off of, on this side of the mountain. And this is where, of course, I found where I came across the weird trees that go at an angle for no apparent reason. For some reason, I decided to turn into those woods, and I found those 3 boulders stacked upon each other. So yeah, but we are here, and like I said, 7 o'clock. I've got a thermal imaging in my pocket right now, so I'm not going to stay too late. I might stay till 8. I might hike in, go, I don't know, maybe I'll go hike to where those trees are, show you guys, and then hike back out. We'll figure it out. But yeah, beautiful wind. Just a nice night. And like I said, it's not dark yet. It's dusk. it's a different atmosphere than daytime. That's for damn sure. I'll flip the camera around so you guys can see the surrounding area and check it out. So, because it is getting darker and darker as we speak. Right here, actually, right here is where I was. I had set up my camera on. What the hell was that? I'm gonna flip the camera around. So right there, I had the camera set up on that during the eclipse last year, and I want to turn on my thermal because that was I don't know if you guys can see it. Filters. Next. There we go. We'll use the black and white one. Next. Ooh. Next. Let's go previous. Yeah, we'll use that one. Select. Okay. I don't know what that noise was that I heard, but it was weird. And there is, I don't know if you guys can see it. I have an eye flare, or a flare at home from another subscriber. I just grabbed this one because it was actually in my bag already. But nice night. But you can tell it's getting dark, you know. I think I might hit the other side though soon. So this right here is where the trees kind of go to the side, if you can see what I mean. They go at an angle. They all go at an angle. And then right up in there, I climbed up into that mountain up there, and that's where I found those 3 boulders. But I mean, like, there's a rock ledge right there, rock cliff off the mountain. So I haven't been here. I haven't been here since spring. Besides the plane, I don't know if my imagination is playing games with me, but for my troll that says I don't live in New York, and you know who you are, buddy. So yeah, this is where, but these trees seem much more sparse actually. Much more sparse. I mean, look at that. That's the Adirondacks right here. Just goes here, level ground. Near. And it just keeps going. Huh. I'm gonna hit pause and get my hiking stick off my backpack real quick, so at least so I got my Caltech in my backpack right now, but I don't like having it out. You know, it's just, it's there if I need it, but I don't like carrying it. Just absolutely freaking beautiful. And it's hard to imagine that so many disappearances have happened here, you know? Wind started to pick up when I was getting my hiking stick off my pack. So last night during the live, some people asked, you know, like, what are you gonna bring with you? That's a great question. I always have, like, obviously I have my Caltech 12 gauge KS7, very small bullpup. I think it's like 18 inches. No, maybe like 20, but fits in my pack. I have a large LL Bean Game Warden pack, and Jesus, I can't even like level up. I do have, we can't have bear spray. We have bear in the Adirondacks, but they won't allow the sale of bear spray in New York. I have no idea why. It's absolutely freaking retarded. They should. I have an air horn that I carry with me, and some other couple knives, a fixed blade, two pocket knives, a thermal. I'm gonna put the flare in here too, the flare thermal imaging. I have I believe I have I do have a night vision, but you know, you always should be prepared. You know, say a prayer before you come in to the woods, obviously, but prayer does not work against a bear. It may work on a demon, but I highly doubt it working on helicopter. It's getting darker and darker too. But, you know, prayer isn't going to work on a bobcat or a freaking black bear. So you should always bring some sort of protection with you. 100%. People are the worst. People are the scariest. Do you have a better chance getting out of the woods if a Bigfoot, or I don't know about Dogman, but Bigfoot chasing you over a freaking psychotic person? You know, most definitely wouldn't want to be around if a psychotic person, especially up here. I wonder how many, you know, that was another thing with, not with the Tom Messick case, but with a couple of different other cases where they had talked about, state police had talked about the possibility of psychotics. You know, like when the Appalachian Trail Killer was loose, why wouldn't we have a person up here. You know, I mean, the Adirondacks, the northern Adirondacks, the northern part of New York. And I'm not talking Syracuse, Utica, Rome. That's west. A lot of people say I live upstate. You know, they'll legitimately say Buffalo, which is Rome, Ithaca, Utica. Beautiful areas, but not upstate. Definitely not, you know. Upstate is anything north, directly north of Albany. And we have a lot of poverty up here, just like in the Appalachia. A lot of poverty. There's a lot of paper mill up here that have closed down. Mines. We've quite a few iron ore mines. That'd be an interesting trip, is to take you guys to an old iron ore mine up here sometime. But yeah, I mean, it's, so why wouldn't we? But also the paranormal factor, you know, like, you guys have been with me when I caught that metallic noise. It's on video. I recorded it. You know. Crows. Gotta love crow. Actually, I don't mind hearing crows because at least it gives me something to listen to. You know? So, yeah, my whole thing with the Messick case. Oh, look at that woodpecker hole right there. We have huge woodpeckers up here, too. My whole thing with Tom Messick is, I believe he was sitting off of this trail somewhere, either over there or up in here, and Native American lore is strong here, very strong. I believe a portal opened up. I believe in whatever came out of that portal was responsible for his disappearance. 100%. 100% responsible for his disappearance. Just peripheral is playing games with me. It's getting darker, so it's like your peripheral vision starts to do its duty, I guess. Keep you on your toes. I don't know. All right, I think what we'll do is we'll come out into the parking area and hit the mountain on the other side. I'm not gonna stay like till dark. It's a full moon tonight too, I believe. So it's beautiful though. So quiet. I heard something. Probably wrong. Anyway, we'll check it out in a few minutes. Alright, so we're about halfway to the parking lot. And it's getting darker. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's definitely getting darker out right now. It's, what time is it? Almost 7:30. Yeah, so, you know, we're about halfway to where the parking area is, and then we'll go up the mountain a little bit. I don't know if I want to go too far up there. That's where, you know, besides this, on this side back that way, where those trees are bent and where those three rocks are, the wash, I call it the wash, it doesn't have a name. This is Lily Pond Trail. The wash has, I've had my share of events there, but actually right around that corner is where I was walking 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, and I just talking to the camera, talking to you guys, and I saw something that I couldn't really figure out what it was, and it came off the side of the mountain, hit the trail, stood up, walked bipedally across the trail, dropped the quadruped, and then ran down into the valley, and down into this area. Not right here, but I mean, because all to the left of me is mountain, to the right is mountain, but going down, and then about 1.5 miles, 2 miles that way would be Route 8, and then Brant Lake. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. But I mean, you can tell, you can hear the night creatures kicking around the insects. But yeah, right here is where I did the shofar during the eclipse, and then I had people telling me because something responded. Sorry about my throat. Something responded, and not a lot, but a few people were like, "That's an owl," and I'm like, one, that's not an owl. It's not any of the 5 species of owls the Adirondacks have. And I did bring it to Cornell Cooperative Extension, which is part of New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, and also it's funded by Cornell College. So they have very brilliant people that work there, and everyone there that I played it for was like, "That is not an owl." 2 park rangers and a couple volunteers. One volunteer actually was working with a hurt owl at the time. So yeah, but yeah, it's getting dark now. Ow. It's getting chilly out now too. So, I don't know. I feel grateful to live in the Adirondacks. I feel like, but with this case, I feel like I owe Tom Messick. I don't know. I feel like I have this, like, I don't know if there's a connection because my daughter was born on the day he disappeared. Not the same year, but November 15th, 2015 is when he disappeared. My youngest daughter, Isabel, was born November 15th, 2007, 8 years prior. So I'm not sure. That was a weird noise. I don't know. All right. Let's get walking out of here. And like I said, we were about halfway. I just wasted so much time just kicking around right there. Wish I didn't, but fuck it. What is that? I don't know. Yeah, buddy, it's getting dark now. Shit. Probably a wrong decision to do this, huh, guys? Oh well, what can you do? You just walk through it, right? Push through it and move on. All right, guys, this is the wash. How freaking creepy is this, huh? I got a headlamp, but definitely creepy. Pull out the thermal. I don't see any heat signatures around us. All right. Got my headlamp on. Pretty cool. So right there is, up there, is where I had that running. Right up there. I know it's probably bright as hell. I'm just not going to go up any further. We'll just stick down here for a little bit. Alright, well, alright, so, well, we're heading out. An interesting trip. This will be attached to some experiences that I'll share and stuff. But I just wanted to kind of give you guys a kind of a night shot of the place, from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. So, but all right, I'll see y'all later when I record from the studio.
All right, so that was my trip up to where Tom Messick disappeared. Like I said, dusk till darkness. And all in all, it was pretty uneventful. I had a couple creepy feelings while I was there. I thought I had heard something and seen something out of the peripheral of my vision. And I believe in the video I had made mention of that. But there was about a half an hour to 45 minutes of time that I was up there that I didn't record. I had gone there to, yes, make a video. But to be honest, when you dedicate your entire life to researching and looking into things, I turn a kayaking trip into a video. I'll talk about, I've done it before. Hiking. So I took a little bit of time and hiked quietly to reflect on some things. But it is a very, very creepy area. And there are multiple disappearances and multiple strange deaths in the area of the Adirondacks. It's an absolutely huge park. Absolutely beautiful as well. I'm very privileged to live here, I feel. And, I know that a lot of people say that about their own states in their own areas where they live. And as you should, because you should always appreciate your area that you live, because if there's something beautiful there, take advantage of it, live it. But my thing is the Adirondacks is so historic with the Native American, with the Revolutionary War, the King Philip's War. There was parts of upstate New York where King Philip's War had occurred. There was a couple little skirmishes, I believe in Saratoga. So there is something dark there. There is something dark. And I truly believe, my own belief on the case is that, and like I said many times, when I started to research this case, I 100% dove into researching, and anything I could find in the news, anything that I could find in whatever, I aligned it with Dogman. And then I kind of said, whoa, Dogman is very interesting. Dogmen are very cool. I like to hear experiences. I like to hear more about them. They are very interesting to me, especially having my own experience in 1994. But there's a lot more out there than Dogman. My belief is, I was even going up to the point where Dogman scooped him up, went up the trees, and disappeared. They were so intent on not getting caught that they picked up his gun and backpack and hat and everything else that he dropped. Come on, Jeff. My belief in the matter is that he was a victim of circumstance. He was in the wrong place at the right time. A portal opened and something grabbed him. Whether it had been a predator-like creature to feed, or if it was an alien demonic creature to take, harvest, and experiment on. I don't know. All I know is the Adirondacks have some weird shit up here. We've got in Saranac Lake, there's an actual MK Ultra and a defunct MK Ultra base for children in the woods of Saranac Lake. People stumbled upon it. A guy stumbled upon it, started sharing pictures, disappeared. So I believe that he was a victim of the circumstance. I think he's quite possibly, I believe he's passed by now. Obviously, it's long enough. We're almost 10 years in now. Yeah, this year's 10th year. Holy shit. So 10 years in, maybe he was an experiment. Maybe they experimented on him. But so I have captured metallic noises. Tom's brother and cousin talk about hearing metallic noises. And, you know, I can honestly say, and without a shadow of a doubt, I really say this wholeheartedly and mean it, that since researching all of these cases, and I've been researching since 94, I dedicated my life 10 years ago to it. Wholeheartedly. Literally every minute of the day. I had heard maybe one or two cases. Maybe one or two. And now there are people that are like basing their whole life on that metallic noise that they heard. And they probably never even heard it, you know. It's like claim to fame. Claim to fame, guys. I heard a metallic noise. I was in the woods. You heard a case, and you probably never been out in the woods before, ever. But, you know, it's crazy how it all works out, you know. Tom Messick's case was the one and only, pretty much, that really emphasized that metallic noise. And I've heard David Paulides say that. And then there's been a few after. Very few. I caught that metallic noise on my microphone, on my camera. And it was scary. And I'll never forget the day. I'll never forget the day. The video is in my channel. I'm standing up on the hill where I had been sitting. Had my mic one day I had my mic propped up. It was like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Hot summer day. I'm sitting on a rock. I got my mic on another rock, and the woods just freaking blow up. Literally, it sounded like a bulldozer was coming through. I grabbed my mic in my bag and I ran. I just fucking ran. I didn't have a firearm with me. I didn't bring a firearm. How intelligent was that? I'm running down the hill and I look up and I see a blur of something. A brownish, blackish blur. Running into the woods, going up. And then in the video, you see the trees, how they arc a little bit. For no other reason. There's a shit ton of them straight. And then there's a bunch that are... I had hiked up that cliffside once, and I found 3 boulders stacked on each other. Now, whatever that thing was that was running through the woods, and I'm not going to say it was a Bigfoot. I'm not going to say it was a Dogman. It might have been a freaking bear. I don't know. It may have been. You know, I'm not going to say it was a Dogman. There's too many people that make claims that they can't. You know what I mean? So I'm going to be as honest as possible. I don't know what it was. It may have been a bear. It may have been a Dogman. It may have been a Bigfoot. That I can't, without any certainty, say it, you know? But where it ran directly up into that hill where those boulders were. And then I'm standing in the woods on the day he disappeared. It's cold, it's snowy, windy. Before I even blew the shofar, I hear the noise. And I stop and I'm like, whoa. And I'm listening to it. And I've heard people say, you know, maybe it's the door of a deep underground facility. Maybe. But no, I don't believe that. Why would they keep opening the door like 10 times? Because what I caught at least eight of these weird kind of, and what it sounded like is, you know, those old, I think they're merry-go-round or whatever, when you were a kid and you'd be on the playground and it was a metallic circle, and you ran and you jumped on, and you usually hung off and your legs kicked out. A few of your friends fell off and broke their face. It sounded like that, like a rusty, and then time. Now, if it was 2 or 3, I'd say maybe a door. But why would they continuously? They're like, hey, we're here. Hey, we're here. You know, it's not fucking Pop Goes the Weasel. I think it's something. It sounds metallic, but it's not. It's something that is dimensional, breaking our dimension, breaking into our dimension, something, and it's just that kind of interference. That's my belief. I don't know. I'm not an expert. But to me, that sounds better than multiple openings of a dumb door. And like I said, it's a good theory, you know. It is a good theory. But why would they continuously open it? You know, like, Jeff, we're here. Can't see us. We're not playing hide and seek. I think that, and then I blew the shofar. Right after I'd caught that, and then the wind stopped. The wind stopped. Completely. It had been windy all day that I was there. Because I said, guys, it's not the wind, and it's not a tree blowing in the wind. And I pointed to a tree that was blowing in the wind. I said, that's what a tree blowing in the wind sounds like. I said, this noise over here, completely different. And it is. There's nothing around. You have people ask me, you know, how far is the nearest whatever? And I'm like, there's nothing there. You know, like, how many times have you heard this experience? I mean, there's a shit ton of people talking about it periodically. You know, it's not like it's in somebody's backyard. You know, it's common sense. Let me Google. You Google something, whatever, your recipe for dinner. Try Googling, what does the area of Lily Pond Road and Trail look like? How deep in the woods is it? Holy shit, it is deep. You know, something, I believe there's a portal. There's something powerful there. And it may be because of the makeup of the stones, the limestone, the quartz, the whatever. Hell, it might have been because a long time ago there was groups of satanic people that would be up in those woods periodically, all throughout the Adirondacks. You don't know. We don't know. Anyway, it just very interesting case and near and dear to my heart because I hope someday I'm up there and I'm randomly just doing something like I have to go off the trail to take a whiz or something and boom, there's this checkered hat. And every time I go there, I think to myself, what if today's that day? Or I find him and he's coming out of a portal, still the same age. How fucking creepy would that be? That'd be pretty awesome. Holy cow. Anyway, moving on. Tonight's first encounter. This is my actual crawler experience, and myself and others, we've witnessed it. I don't care about people's opinions, man of my own heart. I'm here to get this off of my chest because it's been bothering me for quite some time. I will not share the actual names of my previous coworkers or my name for the sake of everyone's privacy. First and foremost, I lived in one of the 5 boroughs in New York City for the majority of my life. I moved to Central Long Island in the summer of 2023. After settling down, I got hired by a job that cares for people's dogs. I started the job on the first week of October. Before starting the job, I met with the owner of the establishment, an older man and his wife, we'll call them Frank and Josephine, and a younger woman and her husband, name them Bemmy and Will. When starting the job, the vibe and the people were nothing out of the ordinary until going into the third week. Two of my coworkers, Mandy and Casey, were having a conversation near the kitchen area. Mandy suddenly had a panic attack in the middle of their conversation. Casey then started to console her so she can calm down. Me, overhearing the conversation, Mandy explained that when the place was under construction, she had seen something come out of a large sewer pipe that used to be there. Then Casey saw me overhearing the conversation, tried to quiet her down. Then I intervened and said, "What is she talking about? She saw something?" Then two other coworkers, we'll call Angie and Nancy, and also Bemmy, who was the one of the bosses, came to me and tried to say she was just having an emotional moment. I gave them a look like they were bullshitting me. Then they all realized they weren't going to lie to me. They each explained they witnessed the same thing that Mandy was talking about. After hearing what each of them had witnessed, I instantly thought they were messing with me. So I brushed it off, how most would if they heard something of this nature. At the end of the same week, when Mandy had her emotional moment, I was with another coworker, Tiffany. We both had morning to noon shift, and we were instructed to take a large dogs back to the back of the building so the dogs could have their playtime. So we did as instructed. As we were supervising the dogs, we both heard screeching noises from the right side of the building. Now, in this part of Long Island, we do have wildlife like deer, fox, owl, rabbit, etc. I've heard some of these animals screech before, but this was an abnormal screech. It sounded something similar to a pig with deeper pitch. I looked at Tiffany and asked, "What the hell was that?" She then radioed Angie and proceeded to tell me to bring the large dogs back inside. She had a worried look on her face. Then after bringing the dogs in, she told me to stay with them and that she needed to talk to Angie for a bit. I, being curious, snuck by the door to hear the conversation. I overheard Tiffany say, "We heard the screeching noises in the back of the building, and that thing keeps coming back and forth." Then Angie replied, "Keep this on the low. We don't want anyone knowing about this." I was a little weirded out, but really didn't think anything of it. I just really wanted to finish my shift and go back home. Going into the last week of October, my shift was changed to the noon to evening shift. Now, during the middle of this work week, everything was fine. There were no incidents of screeching or issues with anyone at all. Now, near the end of the week, I know it was the end of the week because Halloween was just a couple days away. Something happened that changed my understanding of life forever. Bemmy was managing the place this day. She had let everyone know she was leaving because she had to run an errand. I was working with 4 other coworkers. Another guy coworker, we'll call him Craig, another girl, we'll call her Beth, and 2 other girl coworkers who I previously talked about, which were Angie and Tiffany. This took place just about closing time. We all made sure the dogs were put back into their kennels, and we started locking up the place. After locking up, we all started having small talk and laughs in the parking lot of the property. I remember Beth said she was going to an event and that she will catch up with everyone later. So she headed toward her car. Her car was on the right end corner of the entrance to the lot. There were also a lot of brush on that side of the lot, going all the way down to the other side. Now, behind the bushes, it led to a large area with woods. It was dark already, with a little bit of light in the sky. The sun at the very end was setting. So after Beth headed toward her car, Angie and Craig mentioned they were leaving to a baseball event. Angie had a duffel bag with a baseball equipment on her shoulders. They said their goodbyes of the night to me and Tiffany. Tiffany replied that she was heading back home and started to proceed to her car. I said goodbye to all of them and looked toward the area Bethany was and realized she was walking back toward me. She told me with a fearful look, saying, "I saw something crawling near the side of my car. Do not walk in that direction." I, being curious, started to walk toward the area. Craig had overheard what she said to me and saw me walking toward the area. He put his hand on my chest and told me, "I'll check it out." He was a little older than me, so I told him okay. He told me in a way like an older brother would talk to a younger brother. Then, as Craig walked towards Beth's car, he got close to the bush area and something came out from the brush and crawled toward him. It stopped and then stood on its two legs. It had to have been around 7 to 8 feet in height. I felt like my heart was in my stomach when this thing stood up and Craig screamed. The creature hit him once and he dropped to the ground like a sack of potatoes. When the girls saw what happened, they screamed like maniacs. I didn't yell, but I was in shock for a moment. Then we all saw the creature hover over Craig. I saw Angie drop her duffel bag and took out a bat from the bag. Me, Angie, and Beth started to run toward Craig to help him. Somehow Beth got to him first. She grabbed the creature by its wrist, and she was struggling, fighting with this thing. Angie came to the other side of the creature and swung the bat. The creature smacked the bat out of her hand. During the whole commotion, I dragged Craig from the creature's vicinity. I shook him and slapped him in the face to wake him up. He woke up and responded, "We have to leave." I lifted him up and he started walking on his own. I looked toward Beth and Angie to see what happened to them. I saw Beth push this thing into the street. I don't know how they ended up that far away from the lot they were. The creature ended up on its back and popped back up on all fours like a spider. The creature ended up crawling back in our direction. Beth was already running back and heading toward her car. Angie and Craig dove into their car for safety, and I ran toward Tiffany's car at the end and ended up on the top of her hood. She had locked her car and saw everything play out from far away. I remember seeing her phone on the inside of the car. The creature was crawling toward Angie's car. Angie's car was parked in the middle of the lot. A minute or two passes, and Will ended up driving through the entrance of the parking lot. I found out later that Tiffany was on the phone with him while she was in the car watching everything go down. He got out of the car and looked at my direction. He said, "What the hell's going on?" I told him to take out his gun and shoot this thing. He looked confused. "What the hell are you talking about?" I said, "Look, the frickin' thing is by Angie's car." He ran toward her car and the creature stood again on two legs. He was a big muscular guy as well, and this thing towered over him. Will had prior military experience. Will let out a yell and started fighting with this thing. He was holding the thing by its wrists, and the thing was overpowering him. All of a sudden, I see Bethany sprinting toward Will. She started helping him fight this thing. She swiped its legs, and they both pushed it into the brush near the car. As soon as it fell into the brush, it ended up on its back. It popped back up onto its feet like it did the first time and started running in Will's direction. Will took out his gun and shot twice. The creature went down to the floor. It was dead. I got off the hood of my car and everyone who was in the car got out as well. I was in complete shock. Will came to me and asked if I was all right. I said no and told him, "What the hell was that?" He didn't respond to me. He went to check on everyone else. I walked toward the creature to see what it was. I was about 4 or 5 feet away from it. First thing I noticed when I went close to it was its skin was pale white with a shine. Its arms looked longer than its legs. It had 5 fingers with greenish black claws. The claws had to have been around 2 inches long. The fingers were webbed as well. The bottom part of its legs looked like that of a hind leg of a deer. Not really, but similar. It had feet and toes. They were webbed and also had claws, just like its hands. The head was rounded. It had no nose. The mouth was abnormally large. Every tooth in its mouth seemed to be razor sharp. Its eyes could have been the size of a penny or a dime. Another thing I noticed instantly was the smell coming from it. It smelled like sewer water. The most accurate image of this creature would be from the Call of Duty zombie crawlers, but much larger. When I walked away from the creature after observing it, Will dragged it behind the brush. Will then offered to drive me home. I usually walked to the back from work. After what I saw, I did not want to walk anymore. All I could say the whole ride home was extremely quiet. After the moment, I didn't go to work for another couple days. The day came, I went into work. It was an odd silence at work. I walked toward the kitchen area and saw Craig sitting down and crying. Bemmy, Will, Josie, and Frank, and everyone who witnessed the incident were in the kitchen as well. They all seemed worried. Someone was ringing the bell to the front door. You had to buzz people in order for them to enter the building. Bemmy was the one to buzz them in. 2 men dressed in black suits with earpieces and black glasses entered inside of the building. They passed by Bemmy and came to me and asked me my name. "How are you doing today, Mr. Blank? We would like to speak to Mr. Blank regarding the incident that occurred." They knew everyone's last name. The 2 gentlemen who walked in had an authoritative presence to them. They had to have been working for the government. To me, they looked like Secret Service, but I don't think they were. I led them to straight where Frank was, and they entered his office. Frank closed the door to his office and I guess had a conversation with them. They talked a while. I stood in the kitchen the whole time until these 2 men left. After that, Frank told everyone everything would be taken care of and everything is okay. After this, I went into a depression and started drinking a lot. I still worked there for about 7 months until I had a falling out with the owner of the place. I also was getting into spiffs with coworkers there as well. This eventually led to me being fired. Eventually, I told my brothers and Dad about the incident after it happened, but my dad did not believe me. He's the kind of guy he has to see it for himself to believe it. Much how like I was before the incident. So honestly, if you don't believe me, I understand. I researched the history of Long Island, folklores and legends. Just like Bigfoot, Dogman, and UFOs, Long Island has native land. I wouldn't discredit anyone after seeing what I saw. Thank you. Today's final experience, we will end in a Dogman experience. When I lived in Minnesota, I saw something that troubled me for years and still does. I had about 2 weeks until my plane. I moved to PNW. I had no money and no one to stay with, so me and the dog roughed it and camped in the woods. It was the middle of November 2022, and temperatures were 22 degrees low and around 35, 38 high. Always had a fire going. It honestly wasn't that bad, except at night. The fire would go out. My dog would either stay in the tent or tied next to me. We spent only about 6 days in this area, and every single day I saw a massive deer. I just moved from Memphis, where I bagged my first one. The deer in Minnesota were jaw-dropping huge compared to my 10-pointer. Sometimes they would be about 100 yards away, walking or running across some train tracks. The woods were thick, but I could always make out animals. Before night, I would always see a dog, sometimes 2, looking at me, and very slowly approaching. I always screamed and hollered when I noticed them. On the second night I was there, I heard crashing through the woods and rocks near the tracks. I stepped out of the tent, and I would see about 10 or so deer running down the tracks and then blindly dart directly toward me. I figured they'd see or smell me, the fire as well, so I just stood there and was just in awe with nature. But they weren't really veering off. The trees were huge and the woods were thick. They were running and jumping so fast and far, I would feel the ground shake. The two leading deer came within 10 feet of me easily. I was petrified. I thought I was going to get pierced. As soon as I stepped my leg over to the dive into my tent, they turned 90 degrees and jumped, running away. I thought it was extremely scary, but also very cool. At about 10 p.m., I stoked the fire and noticed something off in the distance on my side of the tracks. Not even toward the tracks, but parallel with me. It looked like two people with headlamps on processing a deer. On my first day there, I did see and quickly talked to a guy passing by, said he was looking for deer skin. I made nothing of it and stopped shining my light toward them. After falling asleep, I stepped outside and the two headlamps were still on. Same spot, making the same motion. It looked like they were about 4 or 5 feet apart. One would fiddle with something on the ground and hand it to the other. At this point, I was alarmed because it's now 1 a.m. The shine of my light watch very intently. It was so dark and so far away that by the time my eyes would focus, I would need to blink, losing what I was seeing. I would watch one headlamp and see the headlamp split into two, so I knew what I was looking at was a pair of eyes, two individual sets of eyes. They were behind fallen logs in a standing tree. The motions I saw were that of them moving back and forth, peeking around different spots of the trees and logs. I moved my head side to side, and they did the same, but on a different section and height of the tree, like they were crouched and then standing, but never looking away from me. When I got back into the tent, I zipped up the door, leaving the top open about an inch or so. Zoomed my flashlight in, peeking through the hole. I could see when they stopped and when they started this motion again. The harder I tried to focus, the more agitated the movement seemed. I was getting on a plane soon, so all I had were knives and a couple flares. Kept them close and snuggled up with my dog. Around 5 a.m., I peeked through the tent and was still being watched. When the sun came out, I stepped out and nothing was there. I figured they were wolves, but the motion and the mimicking of mine was insane. I had a great spot and worked hard on clearing up this area, so I thought I'd stay there for at least another night. On night 3, I never saw them, but around midnight I heard crashing through the tracks again and thought it was a herd of deer. Following it with my flashlight, I noticed it was only one animal moving way faster too. It did the same thing the deer did before in starting running directly toward me. I could hear it leaving rocks and running through a large patch of tall grass, like really tall, around 4 feet, dead grass, pretty loud. It's still coming toward me. I'm shining my light in the general area. It's about to pop out, about 40 feet in front of me. The instant it come out, it takes a maximum of 2 steps and stands straight up and stops instantly. 1 second is not seen. 1 second is not out. It takes a max of 2. 1 second is not seen. Okay, 1 second is not seen. Sorry about that, guys. 1 second is not seen at all. The next second, I'm staring at this thing, and true fight or flight kicks in. I immediately knew there was no running away from this thing. I knew it was a full-on predator. I knew if I ran, it would give chase. The eyes were facing forward, very long, pointed ears, and could go on all fours or two. My dog was zipped up into the tent 3 feet away from me. I zoomed in with my flashlight, and it helped absolutely nothing. I could see amberish eye shine and a wet gloss on its nose. Staying perfectly still with my light, I slow but deeply took a large breath. About 10 seconds has gone. max since it stood up. I screamed as loud as I could, but also as quick as I could. All I screamed was, "Hey." I never sounded like that before. I never ever screamed like that in my life. Didn't know I could even sound like that. It wasn't recognizable at the same time I screamed. I uninitially blinked. I heard the thud and dead grass rustle, but not nearly enough for what actually he'd gone through. I knew whatever this was, definitely within 3 to 5 feet of the grass line. I continued to yell, "I will F you up, and I will effing eat you," repeatedly. Before my initial scream, I saw that this thing was about 7 feet at the tips of its ears. The ears were 100% the same shape as Anubis, stupidly long and pointed, very pointy. The next morning, I walked into town and went to Caribou Coffee for some Wi-Fi. First thing I did when my phone turned on, needed to charge. I searched up images of Anubis and started to cry silently right there in the store, staring at the picture. Contacted my family in PNW to get a new plane ticket for an earlier arrival. My 2 weeks turned into one. Getting back to camp, I started packing everything up, relocate my camp spot. This was a mistake because of the giant thing I saw. I totally forgot about the 2 things I saw on the night. On night 2, I grabbed my things and walked right past the spot trees I saw them at. Went about a half a mile further in to more of a denser part of the woods. Thinner trees, but denser. That night, night 4, was terrifying too. This was the first night that I heard yipping from packs of coyote. This was about an hour before the sun went down. It sounded like a person screaming, but it went on for far too long and so loud I knew it wasn't a person. They all sounded very similar. It went on for so much longer than I expected, probably around a minute. Very far away, but still made me turn my head at first. About an hour after the sun went down, I hear wolves howling. That made my butthole pucker a bit. More chills. I decided to make a huge fire, or at least throw some huge logs on. Fewer trips outside. When doing this, I see 2 pair of eyes are back and watching me. Again, I kept being loud and screaming, "I will F you up," along with other things. The next night only got worse. Every single night after that got worse and worse. First night at this new location, the 2 pair of eyes came back. Second night, there was 6 pair. And then the next 8. All of them were at a distance and very still. They stood at the exact same spot every night when they returned. But the man returned with the main 2 mimicking my motions, peeking around the trees to get a better view. I even saw them vigorously bobbling up and down like a monkey would when trying to unzip a tent. When it was time to leave, I packed up what I could bring and left everything not allowed on the plane behind in my tent. I think about those days every day. I have no idea what exactly I saw or what to make of it. I was already going through enough rough times and family tragedies. I spoke nothing of his story to anyone. They would not believe me anyway. They would just call me crazy. I spoke nothing to anybody, so. Yeah. Definitely a terrifying event right there. Alright, folks. There was today's upload. I hope you all enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I'd like to thank you all for supporting the channel. It is your support, after all, that helps the channel to continue to grow and go, and what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone is simply treated with the respect that we deserve. Please, everyone, stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and friends. These creatures are real. These events have happened. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless you all.